Good morning, it's Miss T. I hope everyone is having a blessed weekend and everything's going fine with you. I just wanted to come on here. I had went to a homegoing, is what they call them, funeral for someone yesterday, and sometimes people don't think about their own passing or death or homegoing or whatever, and until that actual day that you go to a funeral or you go into the hospital, or something triggers you thinking about that. So most of the time as we go through life, we're not really thinking today might be my last day, or I might go to sleep and not wake up. So I was sitting, there listening to the sermon, and what amazes me, it always happens, especially with Baptist preachers. I am not saying anything bad about anybody's religion. I'm just giving my observation. So I don't know if the pastor knew the person who passed away. I'm pretty sure he did, but I just wonder if they have a set sermon, or if they actually go on by how the person lived. I don't think they do that type of sermon. I really haven't heard that type of sermon lately. I think it's more or less, are you ready for to meet your end type, or have you given yourself to God? So when he started out, it was the usual, he was calm and letting us know we're here to celebrate the homegoing of the person, and just different things. And then as people started to get into what he was saying, he went into what I call the preacher's voice. The voice where it's animated, and it sometimes it almost sounds like he's getting ready to start singing an R&B song, or there's a lot of ad libs and a lot of motion and stuff like that. So as he was going into that, I was just sitting here wondering, just thinking if a lot of people there were even really thinking about their end, or how it would come, when it's going to come. Would they be ready to go? Things like that. And so I've been reading, several books along with the Bible, because we all know that there are things missing out of the Bible that if they had left in, we would have known everything we needed to know about how to live your lives, and how to watch for the signs of Jesus' second returning. But because the Bible, that they decided, and I say they because yesterday I did use let me explain. When I decided that I was going to come on here and spread God's gospel, I said I could not sugarcoat or remove or try to downplay anything that God has said, or that's in his word, because that's just like me acting like, removing it or withholding information. I'd be held accountable for that. And I'm not I'm not jeopardizing my salvation for anyone. So when I do say talk, I put the whole information out there, whether it's pretty, scary, or whatever. It's not to upset anyone. It's not to scare anyone, because God's word is not scary. His love is not scary. His word is not scary. The only time it's scary is when false prophets or people try to make it scary or turn it into something scary. We don't have, the devil is not sitting under the earth in a heated ball of fire and he's not red with horns and a tail. Actually, what Satan was one of the most beautiful angels in heaven before he got kicked out. And now he's on earth trying to distract or trying to get as many people to go where he's going. Now, if someone came up to you with all red and horns and a tail and breathing fire, would you stand there and listen to them? I don't think so. The devil has a way to shift himself into whatever he needs to be or needs to look like to draw your attention. So I imagine that he has many different looks. He might look like a very, very handsome man. Might look like a very, very beautiful woman. I don't know. He might look like a beautiful bird that sits and perches itself on your tree every morning. It sings to you. He could be, he's everything that you need to distract you in your life from following Jesus. So I don't think he would be scary. I think he would come to you and you would just be in awe of him. That your mind is taken aback and your thoughts are removed from what you were doing or with the truth, and you're just focused on him. And that's what he does. So at the funeral, everybody was sitting and, doing the amens and the everything like that. It was a very brief. The man was in the military, so it was a military funeral, and it was very brief. But I don't know if other people think like I do, but I sit every day, and it's almost like not a check off list, but since God has given us signs and warnings and almost everything but the actual day, time, hour, minute of his return, you can't help but noticing that how each day or each week goes by or each month or each year goes by, how closer we are. Almost, just like you were so close that you can say, man, he's probably coming tomorrow. And he could be coming in 15 minutes. And so I wonder if other people think about this. It's time for people to understand, or time for people, I'm sure you understand, it's time for you to accept the fact that there is a ending, there is a beginning. God created the heaven and the earth. He's the Alpha and the Omega. And there's an ending. I don't know if people just walk around life and think that the world is just going, someday that's just going to crumble up and just fall apart and float off into the abyss. I don't know if you just think that one day the world's not going to be able to handle all of the things that has happened to it, the climate changes, the everything that's happened to it, and it just explodes. I don't know what people choose to believe, but I know I truly believe that that's what they want to believe, or they want to believe that you just close your eyes and that's the end. And once everybody in the whole world eyes are closed, then there's just nobody else left here. But I know everybody knows that there's an ending, whichever ending you choose is yours. But like I said, he has given us every clue. Well, it's not even a clue. He doesn't. It's not a game. It's not a guessing game. It's not a, anything. He's telling you directly. I am coming back to take my people home, my just people. Because he says when he comes, if you're unjust, you will stay unjust. There's no saying dropping to your knees then and asking for forgiveness, and that's all over. That's gone. So he said he's coming back, and because he cares, because he loved, because God sent Jesus to die on the cross for our sins, because he knew we could not remain sinless. It was too great. Evil is too great. It has a power. It takes over. It's better to be, well, not better. It feels better to be high or drunk than to be sober. Sometimes it feels better to watch a porno than to sit and watch a cartoon with your kids. It feels better to have multiple partners to get that feeling than to remain abstinent because you're not doing it the way God intended. Evil makes it a better thing. It gives you a better feeling. So what we think is, if I live my life for the Lord, I'm going to be bored. I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be, and then what? And then I die. Well, that's not true, because God says if you take up your fishing net and follow Him, just like the 12 disciples, follow Him. Do you think your life is going to be boring? Do you think your life is going to be... God has every plan to make sure that your life is so fulfilling and so free of all the things that people have to worry about. He didn't say it was going to be easy to follow Him. He didn't say that you were not going to have bad days. He did not say that you were not going to need Him constantly. He never said any of those things. He just promised that if you followed Him, did His will, that He would bless you, that He would be there to protect you, that He wouldn't let anyone do anything that because when I say He, because of sin, there is a structure, there's an order, and we can't stop it. Once sin was started, it couldn't be stopped. You can't stop it. It's in the world, and it has a order. Just like God had a perfect order when He created the world, and it ran smoothly until man came and changed it, and now we have the stars don't align with the moon, and the moon doesn't align with the sun, and the seasons don't match because January is not the new year, and we don't have the right spring, and excuse me, and the festivals we're not celebrating on the right time, and the earth is not circulating in the correct. So we have all these things that were formed to be perfect and aligned, and makes everything go perfectly, are not going perfectly because they are no longer in line. So if you can just think back, if you were lucky or blessed to have your grandparents still alive when you were a child, or now, or your great grandparents, or someone who lived back, how they used to say that the grass was green, and food tastes so good, and just everything was just different. I'm not saying that was the perfect part, because we were far from perfect. Sin had already entered far into the world by then. But it takes different, as we get closer and closer and closer to the end, it gets worse and worse and worse. So, like, if you were blessed to live in a certain area, you probably had clean water. Fruit was big, juicy, and ripe, and nuts and berries, and just the smell of the earth. But here we are in 2025. The world doesn't even know, because God had to, has angels that were keeping everything, which they are still keeping everything, held with the stars in the sky, the planets, the whatever. They're still being held, but they're not in alignment. So we're sitting here and we don't smell fresh air. We don't taste good water. That's why they give us bottled water, and I don't even trust that, because where are they getting fresh water from? Fruits aren't sweetened. You can't even pick a fruit off the vine and eat it and just enjoy it. It has to go through steps, chemicals, wash, peel, those type of things. That's not normal. That's not what it was supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to have to pasteurize and send your meat to, well, I'm not going to say meat, because I know in the Bible people argue about if you're supposed to eat meat or not. And I'm not here to argue about it, because I have my own opinions, and so I'm not going to push them on anyone else. So you have to read the Bible for yourself. You have to study the Word for yourself. You can't go off of what someone else read and interpreted and told. You can't go off of somebody's grandparent who read the Bible and her used to be a pastor back and preached back in the day, and what they said, and then it went down from generation to generation. People didn't even decide to look and see if that's actually what it said. They just go by what it has been passed down from generation to generation. Now, God said He will punish those who are false prophets, but He does hold you accountable for your own knowledge. So if you decide not to pick up the Word and read it for yourself, that does not give you a pass to be ignorant or to claim you did not know. That's not going to work. And I believe some people do that. They don't want to read it because they don't want to know, and then they can, in their minds, it's like, I didn't know that you couldn't do that. I didn't know you couldn't say that. I didn't know you could. Well, did you know when you were in school, if you didn't study that book, that you had that test on Monday, that if you didn't study that book, you were going to fail? So there's no excuse for claiming ignorance. But like I said, every time I start talking, everybody knows me. I'll go all over the place, and then I'll try to find my way back to where I was. But so when this person had a chance to know that his end was coming. He was diagnosed with cancer, and the doctors told him basically, how long he had to live. So in that time, whether he chose not to or whether he chose to get closer to God or seek the Lord, I do not know. Only he and God knows that. But see how wonderful that is. A God that we serve, that he said, yeah, you did, you sinned all your life. But right now your end is coming. I'm going to give you an opportunity to change your life. Even though, if a person hadn't been told, you're going to pass, and they may have continued to do what they were doing. But because he's a loving and forgiving God, he says, however you choose to use these days, months, whatever, you have an opportunity to be saved before you go. Now, if he chose that opportunity, he took that opportunity, I don't know. But there are people who will not have that opportunity. There were people that went to bed happy last night, or had a good meal and spent time with their families and friends, and watched a good program or whatever. And this morning, they're no longer here. They might not have known. Well, they wouldn't have known that they weren't going to be here in the morning. So was their opportunity missed? There might be people that are headed for a vacation, and they're planning and getting excited and picking out outfits and getting ready to get their itinerary together, and that they don't know that in 2 weeks they're no longer going to be here. We don't know if they had an opportunity to make it right with the Lord. No one really really knows. I mean, some people, will get that opportunity because they're told. But don't be fooled. God is not one to be played with. He knows your heart. When other people might not know your heart, because they'll say, oh, at the end of his days or her days, she gave her life to the Lord, and I just know that she's going to be in heaven. God knows your heart. God sees you on the inside. He doesn't judge how pretty your face is. He doesn't judge how handsome your face is. He doesn't judge how beautiful your body is shaped, or how any of those. That's not what he looks at when he looks at you. He looks at your inner heart, your mind, and your soul. What type of person are you? Do you love people? Would you give someone your last? Would you feed someone if you seen they were hungry on the street? Would you hand your last $5 to the man begging on the corner? Or would you just drive past them and laugh? Or would you just drive past them and say, get a job? So people look on you on the outside, and you got this beautiful package, and they think you're wonderful because that package is so nice, and it's good to look at, and it's just wonderful, because that's what people normally, they go by sight. They're attracted to what they can see, or because if our attraction was by the inside, people would be ugly to us. Most people would be ugly. But that's how God goes by. That's what God goes by. Did you think he said all the people that we deem ugly are going to hell? Or not hell, because hell is not a place. Did you think he said all the beautiful people who we deem the beautiful people are going to be in heaven? He said your soul, your heart The inside of you has to be beautiful in order for you to go to heaven. That's all that matters. So if you have, I don't care if you have a lazy eye, what people deem as not attractive, because I don't know who's on earth gave anybody permission or authority to decide who is beautiful and who is not. God created everybody in his likeness. He didn't say we're all, he separated us as far as if we all looked exactly alike. What kind of world would that be? But he created us in their likeness. So that means looks. He gave us whatever we needed to. We got eyes so we can see. We have ears and the nose and the mouth and hands and arms, and the inside is in. So if you, the way God created your insides, how your ribs, if you opened yourself up, and how it looks like the way that it's formed and how it keeps you alive, and what your system plays a part, what part keeps this part going, and scientists could not explain it, and they can't explain it. They like to come. It's been since the beginning of time trying to explain the human body. You haven't figured it out yet? Well, you're not going to, because you did not design it. God did. So you're not going to wonder. You're not going to know why or how your heart beats with no batteries. It just goes. You're not going to know how your skeleton keeps your all your organs and your limbs, and you walk, and you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to say breathe. You don't have to say see. You don't have to say eat. Your mind does, it's not really does what it wants, but you don't have, but fortunately, you don't have to tell it to live. He doesn't have to tell your body to live. When God breathed into your nostrils the breath of life, you're automatically living. You don't have to wonder how. You don't have to wonder how, because we would sit around and we'd be scared to move if we had to do that. So we should just be basically grateful that we have life, that we don't have to just focus on every day a part of us. We focus on making sure, we should be focusing on making sure that we keep our bodies healthy, because the body is the temple of God. And if you do keep it healthy, you probably will last longer. And what is so special is that some people don't take care of their temples and they still live longer. So there's no rhyme or reason. We shouldn't just sit down and waste time wondering why and how and who. What you should be focusing on, if you weren't focusing on it before, is getting your life right with God for Jesus' second coming, to ensure that you'll be in heaven. Who wants to? I know I don't. This is down here. People have, I guess if you have everything that you need down here, and when I say everything that you need, I'm really just talking about money. Maybe it is fun. Maybe it is just glamorous, and you wouldn't want to be anywhere else. You could do what you want, buy what you want, and your life is glamorous. But what I find awful funny is that people that have money some of them aren't happy either. There's more people with no money that are happy and carefree than people who are millionaires. Else we wouldn't see them going, just going, unaliving themselves or participating in harmful things that can possibly lead to their demise, or just don't have enough to fulfill their life, that they take their money and find sicker ways to use it. Just find things that don't even that go against mankind, that go against the rule of life. If they were happy, these things wouldn't cross their minds. That's a little bit of evil, the devil, and all of the world mixed in together. If you're happy, you're just happy. You just love in life and just spend time just breathing and living and traveling and eating the fancy foods and buying whatever you want. But those people with money are just the same. They're in pain. They're seeking for something, looking for something that they cannot find, because you can't find love, peace in money. You can find contentment. You can find, it's less stressful if you have a little money, that if you're able to pay your bills and keep your lights on and have a roof over your head and have plenty of food to eat. But it doesn't give you comfort. If you're rich, and the only reason what's it called, rich people's problems? Could you imagine what kind of problems they have? Do you happen to wonder if people are their friends because they have money, or do they genuinely care or love them? Or, men who have to wonder if their wife is in love with them, or is she in love with their money, or just all of those things. The love of money is the root of all evil. Because we're sitting down here, the people that really don't have it are saying, if I can just get money, I will be much better. I'll be happier. I will be respected. I will be envied. Because, we use stuff just because we want to. That's not the way. People don't say, if I could just get money, I could feed homeless people. I could, maybe possibly take some of these dilapidated houses that are sitting around and buy them for $1 and fix them up and get people who are on the street in them, or donate it to a single mother who has children and they're on the street. We don't say that. We say, if I had money, I could buy me that car I wanted. I could get a nice house, and I can travel, and I can just do. It's me, and me. And when you love it, the root of having money is evil, then that's when all the other things come into play. You'll do anything for it. I have heard so many stories. Mother sells her daughter, 5-year-old daughter, to a man for money. Man has his wife and children unalive for insurance policy. It's sad. It's a sad, hurtful, evil world that I'm tired of being in, actually. People don't understand. Being alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely. I enjoy being by myself and just thinking and learning different things and reading things rather than having the hectic life of trying to determine if this person is sincere with me, or did this person tell me a lie, or if I'm being targeted, because I don't want to have all those things to worry about. My main goal is to go to heaven, and I don't want anything or anyone who will hinder me from getting there. And when I say hindering, I'm human, and God says we're all sinners and we all fall short. So my shortcomings are still here. I know what it takes for me to forget that I'm worshiping God, and I'm supposed to love everyone, and I'm supposed to forgive everyone, and I'm supposed to, be that type of person, and it's supposed to show. I shouldn't have to say anything. The way I live my life should let you know. That's how I am. That's showing God in how you live is how you're supposed to be. So if the words that are coming out of my mouth don't match my actions, then I'm being a stumbling block to the person who might have possibly thought they wanted to follow God. Because you know what gets me upset, and when I decided to stop attending church, is because you have this ideal that church is going to, the people at church are totally different, and they're not. They're just people that's off the street that came to church and treated you or treat you the same way that they would have treated you if they seen you at the grocery store and you accidentally took their parking space. Then they treat you when you're sitting in the pew next to them. I learned that the hard way. So God knows that kind of thing hurts and destroys my intentions, because I'm not able to, at that particular time, even though I pray, God, please don't put me in these predicaments. God, please don't, God still has to know that I am strong enough to uphold Him at all times. That's what faith is for. So when I say that I'm not all the way there, is what I mean is, if someone is in my face saying things to me to be hurtful or to provoke me, I'm not sure that, and I've spoken with God about it. I'm not going to say I'm not sure. I cannot turn the other cheek. I'm not going to turn the other cheek. So that's why I say, I ask Him at this moment, please do not put me in predicaments that will cause me to tarnish your will, or will cause me to be a stumbling block, or help me to choose my words. Why choose my words as you would have said them, or you would have wanted me to say. And so while He's helping me with that, I try to stay far from certain situations. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I'm in a chat, and I do not like bullies. I do not like to see people being, what is the word? Like attacked jumped on, and so it's hard for me not to, even though who cares about me, but it's hard for me not to be vocal about that. And so I ask God not to put me in those situations, but I find maybe that he is putting me in certain situations because I have to learn how not to do those things, to focus off, to react off of emotions. I need to act off of Jesus's love that he has for me, that I know that he doesn't talk to me, even though I may do something against him or say something against him. He always turns the other cheek for me, for anybody, because he knows that we live here. It would take years to unravel the pain, the hurt, the suffering that has been embedded, the words that have been said to you, the actions that have been done to you, the people that have ignored you, the people that have betrayed you, the family members who have thrown you aside, the mother who was supposed to love you who showed you otherwise, the father who walked out of your life, the man that's supposed to love you who hits you every day, the father who's supposed to love you that abuses you, that does foul things. All those things, it would take a lifetime to unravel. So all people have is to lean on God, and that's it. You're not going to. I'm not saying don't go to therapy, because it helps. I've been to therapy. I will say that it opened up some things, but I feel the only time I started to heal is when I turned my life over to God. So, like I said, because I went all around, I'm going to go back to the funeral. So I said that just to say, do you ever just sit and think that today is my last day? Tomorrow's my last day. When I close my eyes tonight, it's going to be my last day. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people do not think about that. But we should. Unless you are sure that your eternal life, that you're written in the book of life, that's the only time that we should not even care when we close our eyes or when our time comes. Until then, if your life is not right with the Lord, you need to get it right. Because any minute you can go and then you will never have a chance to get it right before he comes. And the ending is not where you want. That ending is not where you want to be. So, by that being said, I'm just hoping that people, especially my people, I love all people, but because I love my people, and when I say my people, I mean people of color, I mean women, I mean children, I mean men, that I can relate to, because I know some of the trauma and drama and things that I have gone through, or that you've gone through too, and you're just looking for a savior. And he is out there, he's there, and he's waiting for you to come to him. And he wants me to tell you that. He is waiting for you to come to him. He's not going to force you. He's not going to come looking for you. You have to want him, and he will wait. It's not going to be a long wait, because the time is winding up. So if you just think, anytime you think, if anything that just happens and you go down and you ask God, it's something you're going through right now, and you don't know how you're going to bring yourself out of it, you don't know what's going to happen, just ask the Lord. I will guarantee you, He will answer your prayer. He will be there for you. I can't say it. I don't know how many times I can say it, but I say it all the time. On my life, God is real. God is real. And I know you're like, who am I for you to believe me? But God is real. You need to find out for yourself. And I hope that everyone continues to have a great day, that you pick up a Bible or pick up the book, pick up a book of book of Jubilees, the book of Enoch, the book of Mary, the book of Exodus, the book of the Ethiopian Bible. Just start reading when you feel scared, alone, or depressed, or like there's no hope. Pick up those books and read. Pray, say a little prayer, and see if your life doesn't start changing.